when you wash up so you feel well enough to film another video, even though your hair still looks like a hot mess. Um, so the next book is called Secrets of the Tally. And so I went to the book festival in Baltimore last year, and that's when I got this book. And don't judge me, I did just read it this year. Um, the lady, like, she was super nice, and she signed my book. And the second one is out because I'm pretty sure this book came out in 2016, and I think I'm actually gonna read it because, like, I just want to know what the deal is and like what is happening. It contains my most hated trope, lost memory, which is probably why I struggle to read it because I hate that trope. Um, the book after this actually also has that trope, but I don't. For me, it works less in that book. But anyway, I also don't know if I'm the target demographic for this book. Like, she sold me the book, and I'm clearly not a little kid, but I mean, not clearly sometimes. Someone genuinely told me that they thought I was 12. But, like, I don't know if I'm the target demographic for this book. So, um, her name is Allie. She doesn't have any memory. She evades some monsters and she gets home. And I think they're monsters. I think they might actually have been human at some point, but I have no idea. So they go on a mission. There's a lot happening. They go on a mission and evade death in the breathing sea. West might be dead. Archie is a Scully. At least I thought so. And they the monsters. The Ascali, they're the monsters. They want Allie, so they take her. And Allie was also kind of a spy. She's also a Scully, but like she and Archie are like half a Scully. And they're trying to end the war because the humans are in a Scully territory. And Allie is angry at Archie for not telling her, and like it's a whole thing. And like she has a sister, and I don't think the sister knows, and they were like kicked out of the other place where all the humans are, and they're not supposed to, Scully and humans aren't supposed to be together. It's like an abomination. And like, I mean, I don't know, it's like a whole thing, and I want to know what the deal is. So I think I'm going to read the second one, even though I don't think I'm the target demographic. But I feel like not like a little kid, but like if you know, so if you have like a niece or a nephew, or you have a kid who is like maybe like nine and up, I feel like they'll enjoy this book. Um, it's very I think it's very appropriate for its age demographic. I don't know what she was going for, but if she was going for that age demographic, then I think she succeeded. Because I mean, it's the most not inoffensive, because there's that whole half a Scully thing with the Scully not liking them, and it's kind of like discrimination, and they're like sectioned off from everyone else, but they're still spies because they look human ish. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. And like, um, also part of the reason I think I didn't like this book is because it's the same problem that I had with season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like, we can all acknowledge that it was bad, but no one is more wrong than anyone else. Except for Sav and Gat in the Secrets of the Tally. Sav and Gat are these two Ascali who just hate everybody and want all of the half Ascali dead. Like, and all the humans. It's wow, those two. Um like, there isn't really a main antagonist, and I don't particularly like that. Like, no one has to be a good person. Like in After the Devil is One, she's Sia's not a good person, but she's the protagonist. There also kind of isn't an antagonist in that book, but it kind of works. Um like, it's just like in like with Game of Thrones, it's just that like sometimes people seem more wrong than other people, which is why like lots of people hate Cersei, because in our heads, in the people who hate Cersei's heads, it's she is more wrong than the others. So, but everybody's kind of wrong. So, um, as far as the characters go, Liz is her sister. She gets on my nerves. Archie is meh, and Allie is super meh. Sav and Gat are evil. Anna isn't the main character. I wrote that down because Anna, and I think she's just like a badass, At least that's what it seemed like. And she's not the main character. And it's like, well, why? Um, Leaf is a kid, and Avery is a dick. I mean, a lot of it is just politics, which I don't like. It's not bad though. Like it's a good book. The reason that I put it on the wouldn't read again list is because I wouldn't read it again. But it is underneath Vampire Sword, and I'm reading the second one of Vampire Sword, so that must tell you something about it. I just didn't like it that much. I suppose you can tell how much I like or dislike a book based on how long these videos are. All of the average books seem to go about like 10 minutes. All of the really bad or really good books go longer. And then if it's just a meh book, then it ends up not being that long at all. So I'm gonna go on to the next two books because one of them is a shout out. Or no, I can increase this one. So I wrote down a quote from this book because I found it very funny. The line from the book is, "She was going somewhere terrible, but she had a hedgehog, damn it." It was very funny to me. I think this is also like a standalone book, which they set it up for a sequel, so I don't actually know if it is. It's called The Seventh Bride. So there's this girl, and her name is Rhea, and she lives with her parents, and I believe it's just her. She's a miller's daughter, and like they get money from the viscount of their like area so that they can continue to like make stuff. And then this dude shows up, and did I write down his name? I don't. Servon. This dude shows up, and his name is Servon, and he wants Rhea to be his bride. So she asks around town. He's like a kind of not so good person. He's like very mysterious, and no one really knows who he is. So Rhea can't reject him because he's a friend of the Viscount, and if she rejects him, then the Viscount might not fund her father's mill anymore, and then she can't, then they won't be able to support themselves, and it'll be her fault. So she decides to go with Servon, and he is a magician. He's got 6 other brides, and he doesn't tell her until she gets there, and he wants to marry her, but she's like, no, I don't want to marry you. So he keeps giving her like different tasks to do so that and like if she doesn't complete them by the allotted time, then she'll have to marry him. And she's doing all of the tasks, and she's finding the hedgehog. She picked up the hedgehog in the forest on the way to his house. And the forest is also filled with monsters, so like if you stray from the path, then you're going to get killed. So she starts talking also to all of the brides, and like one of them is like really ugly, and one of them can't speak, and one of them is like a clockwork wife, and all that nonsense. I'm not really sure what happened in the last chapter of this book, but so, or like not the last chapter, I don't think, but like at the climax of this book, I'm not really sure what happened. And there's one test that she has to do that she doesn't want to do because she has to give that was the first task. She has to kill one of the other brides, and she doesn't want to do it, so she's going to end up marrying him. So in order to fix this, one of the wives used to be a witch. He stole her magic. He stole the other girl's voice and like all of that. So he wants Rhea's youth so that he can stay young. No one's actually sure how long he's been alive. And the one with no voice like serves him like loyally and like a lot to like make sure that she doesn't to try and like keep herself alive. And so all 6 of the wives are angry, like all of them are, and they don't like the fact that he's got a new wife either, even though they know that she's going to be punished as much too. I think he thinks that he's punishing them for not appreciating the gifts that they have, and which like, okay, dude. And something about trying to find the clockwork wife and then like using her to get him to like get to him. I don't know what happens. All I know is that she comes out and they're like adultery, and he's like, no, I don't know who she is. But then she's like, no, you know who I am, and now your reckoning has come. And he like runs out into like the forest, and they're all watching this happen. He runs out into the forest, And the mute girl, like he tries to escape or like use magic, but she like tightens up around him and he can't escape, and they get dragged to hell. I think I think that's what happens. And then the forest is clear now because it was his magic. So he's gone now. So his magic is gone. And the other girl is now she's a witch again. So Rhea is also probably part witch, which is why her the hedgehog can speak to her. Will speak to her. He doesn't actually speak to her. He's not talking hedgehog. Um, it was a perfectly fine book. Like, uh, I don't. It just Ceravon's whole deal and how he was able to trick the Viscount into being his friend, and like I just he's he's stealing things from people that they're not appreciating, and it's just like, are you or are you just selfish? So that happens, and yeah, the witch wife tells Rhea to come back to the castle when she's older so that they can like see if she's got like real magical ability. And yeah, it's a perfectly fine book. I put it between uh Brightest Kind of Darkness and Chosen. So yeah, it's a fine book. I think I picked it up because it was free for Prime Reading, so I was just like, you know what? Why not? This sounds interesting. He's got 7 brides. This sounds interesting. I did think that Ceravon was going to be like kind of like what's his face from Dragon Rose, where it was like the other 6 were dead and there was like a curse and he couldn't have a wife and she was going to break it. But I mean, maybe I just read the description wrong. I don't remember what the description of this book was. So, yeah.